Welcome back to another episode of the Motivating Force podcast. I am host Sway, and joining me as always, we have Justin. Now, remember guys, we have episodes twice a week. We have Monday and Wednesday at 8 a.m. EST, so don't think that you catch the Monday episode and then that's it. Remember, we always have Monday and Wednesday, so just a little disclaimer for everybody. This one's going to be a little bit different. Me being history buff, I'm always interested in learning from the past, learning from people that have lived before us in different times and how they've achieved different things in their life. And today, I think we're going to do a little bit of like a history lesson. A bunch of fun facts are filled in this one, as well as motivation, because that's what we do here. So today, we're going to be talking about Sir Isaac Newton. I know I mentioned him briefly in last week's Wednesday episode. Again, if you haven't caught that. But upon the research that I've done on this human being, I kind of relate him to a real life superhero. And quick fact that most people don't know is that he was born on Christmas Day in 1642. He already holds one of the biggest names in history when you think science, when you think math, and hopefully it can shed some light on other accomplishments that he's made. A lot of personality traits that he has or had that can help motivate a bunch of people. So to start off, at only 23 years old, I'm already older than that, he graduated from Cambridge University and already discovered the scientific laws that bear his name. And within those lie my motto, which we're always saying. But I will dive a little bit deeper into that later on. Many of you guys listening, if you do know him, if you do know the bigger highlights, you might resent the fact that, if you don't like math, upon finding these scientific laws, he realized that the basic math that they had at the time was a little bit rudimentary. So then he did what? He invented calculus.
My favorite subject.
No, it's not. It's nobody's favorite. Calculus? Are you kidding me? So believe it or not, at 23 years old, like a lot of people now, he was very introverted, and he held off from publishing the findings that he had on these scientific laws. Imagine finding what gravity is and defining it to mathematical equations and different scientific laws that you have in your back pocket, but you're not telling anybody with it, like what they are.
You're just going to sit on it?
Yeah, you're just literally going to sit on it.
I have the cure for cancer, but I'm not sure if people want to know what it is. So,
I mean, but that goes to show, a lot of people can relate with that.
Right.
You might be this genius or somebody that just likes to question a lot of things, and you start finding out these answers to life-altering, problems. But some people lack the confidence to go out and talk about it or to go out and publish these findings. And it wasn't until one of his colleagues potentially just pushed him into publishing them. And the colleague was named Edmund Halley, or Halley, as many of you guys might know him. He is the man that the comet is named after. Halley's Comet is named after him. It's the one with the giant elliptical orbit around our sun, and I think it's every 30-something years or 40-something years we get to see the comet pass by.
Yeah, it's crazy you mentioned that too, because again, just to go back a little bit here, and I think what a lot of people don't realize is when they're really pushing towards something that inspires them, is they get so rooted in that field that if they do discover something or come up with a way to do something, that they don't realize the impact that it's going to have.
Right.
So it's did Isaac Newton know that, the invention, so to speak, of gravity was this groundbreaking revolutionary thing? Probably not. He probably thought, oh, this is going to be a stupid theory that people are going to ride on for a couple of years. You know what I mean?
So it's the fear of failure, you're saying? That you don't want to come out and okay. But kind of like what you're saying, a lot of people that might be in the scientific field as well, that's the reason why there's so many scientific journals, is they might just think of something, have an idea floating around, turns out that it's a giant change in science as we know it, but they might just brush it off it might be out there already. People are probably already working on this, because a lot of the fundamentals of physics and that field is already laid out. So trying to find a change in the fundamentals might be difficult. But with that fear of it's already out there. Why do I want to try to make my name for it, or risk my career or my social structure around this theory that I have? And then they fail to go out and publish them, just like Sir Isaac Newton. But like I said, Edmund Halley, he pushed him to do this, and it was all around a bet. So we know Sir Isaac Newton from a bet that was made. Isn't that crazy to think? So Edmund Halley, he had this problem surrounding the planetary orbits, and he started branching out to like his fellow scientists and his fellow colleagues and proposing this problem that he has, and he can't find the solution for it. Right? So he told plenty of people and made a bet on it. And then he goes up to Sir Isaac Newton, passes the problem out to him, and he was shocked to find that Sir Isaac Newton just looked at him. He was like, "Oh, it's this." He gave him the answer immediately. He was like, "Whoa!" Wrote it out, solved it. Because back then it's just straight mathematics, and he realized that he was right, and the answer was gravity. Everything has its state of relativity, like Einstein found. And the underlying factor was gravity. That's what he was missing. So then upon finding out that he was this genius that was just super introverted, he pushed him to publish his findings. And that's why we know of the laws of thermodynamics and his work in different fields. But the publication was later known as the Philosophiae Naturalis Principii Mathematica, or just simple enough, Principii. And it was published in 1687. And not only did it describe the first time how planets moved through space and how projectiles on Earth traveled through the air, the Principii showed that the same fundamental force, which was gravity, governs both. So Newton basically united heaven and earth with his laws. Isn't that something that must boost somebody's ego to the extreme? If somebody told you that you were able to blend these two things together with just the theory that you had, shouldn't that motivate people to act upon the findings or the work that they're doing in solitude, to go out and put your work out there, take that chance of failure?
I mean, you would think, yeah.
But another point about Sir Isaac Newton, later on, his assistant came out and wrote about him and saying that he would only leave his room. Sir Isaac Newton would only leave his room to give lectures because he was so dedicated to his work and his goals. So this is almost like a form of taking it to the extremes when you set out these goals that you have for each other or for yourself. Like we talk about setting goals and setting challenges and like heading on like full force on trying to achieve these things. But I mean, realistically, it's very hard to do that. You're going to have distractions. You're going to have other things that you're going to want to accomplish on top of that main goal. But this guy took it to the extreme, and he would only leave his room, let's say, to go to work. Yeah. Or he would only leave his room to go try to teach others so then they can get to that point.
So maybe that's where what you would think would be the ego, maybe that's where all that positive energy went, was him realizing like, oh crap, I am a genius and I have something valuable to give to the world because I'm finding out all these like what's now fundamental scientific laws. So he's like, I have to do my duty. I have to do my part. I'm responsible for creating more.
Exactly.
And he did, and he took on that responsibility and stayed to himself and just produced and produced and produced.
And exactly, produced. I have some achievements that include his work with light and color. So being able to distinguish different wavelengths and such in that field. He also He also worked in the development and the refinement of the reflecting telescope. So that also went trickling down time into what we have now as microscopes, telescopes. All that initially started with just taking different lenses and reflecting light off of them. Seeing how if you concave a glass or you convex a glass, you get different magnifications and things. Whereas before it was just, you can see through a window or you use this to cover something. But he was able to take those different tools into something that now we use in the health field, we use in almost everything.
Now he's literally helped everybody have 20/20 vision.
And I was going to say, the people that can't see well because they need glasses, you should thank Sir Isaac Newton.
Right.
And this goes to show, like, even if something doesn't impact the world that you live in as much as you think it's going to right now, maybe you then become that later on hero in life or even after your life, and you help the world exponentially just from getting that confidence in speaking out about what you're doing, trying to ask the questions that might change the world for the better. He also had works in math and heat, which then leads to Newton's laws of thermodynamics, which the first law being the conservation of energy, which is the object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force and knocks it off course, or an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an outside force.
Your favorite saying.
I love it, dude, because we were talking about this before we started recording. Like, as soon as you start talking about things, you're going to keep it going. That energy's going, but if you're sitting around all day, you're not going to want to do anything. We've talked about this last week.
Yeah, like that, the 5-minute rule. If you really don't want to do something, set a timer for 5 minutes and start working on it.
Exactly.
Chances are you'll turn the timer off. You'll keep working.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that goes to show, that's why that's my motto. That's why I love, you don't even have to take it in the context of a scientific law, like being this whole nerdy guy that I am, I guess. You can think of it as a motivational quote, if you might say. And I have some fun facts, like I mentioned at the beginning. He also dabbled in biblical prophecies and predicted that the world would end in AD 2060. Last time I checked, it's 2021.
Okay.
That's not far away.
So we survived the Mayans' predictions, and now we have Newton's predictions.
Hey man, he didn't fail a lot, but let's
hopefully
find out.
He failed at something.
Yeah, hopefully this is the biggest failure he has. But like other scientists in his day, of course, the fabled Philosopher's Stone, he also tried working on that and creating what was the Philosopher's Stone, which is an object that you're able to change any metal, material, anything into gold. Because again, at the time, we know now gold is extremely valuable. So imagine being able to turn this cup to gold with the Philosopher's Stone. So it was this very coveted item or experiment that people would try to obtain in those earlier times. Again, remember this, the 1600s. So imagine being able to turn anything into gold. Think about it now. That's incredible. You'd be able to change your life and be the wealthiest man in the world.
Yeah.
But of course, he failed at that. So hopefully, like we said, biblical prophecy.
In a way, we do turn things to gold. Look what we did with Dogecoin.
Oh, that's a good point. We turned a joke into gold.
Yeah.
But upon, he worked on that so much, and working with alchemy, of course, they don't have the proper safety equipment, the proper PPE, personal protective equipment at that time. He was exposed to a lot of different chemicals and different elements, and it led to him getting mercury poisoning, which of course can make somebody go a little mad. Or he got
It'll also straight up kill you. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he also got like anxiety and different like mental problems from it. And then a crazy one that I found out when I was doing this research is, guess what? This is why I relate him to a modern, well, not a modern day, but a superhero, a real life superhero, because he would also catch some bad guys. How would he do that if he's just a scientist? So, after...
Is he like what's his name? Mr. Go-Go Gadget, right? Like
Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, Inspector Gadget. There you go.
No, a little bit closer to Sherlock Holmes, right? Because the times.
That's just profiling.
Well, a little bit, but hold on. So after all the scientific theories, after the books were published and his findings were out there for everybody, he felt he was granted the job. He felt it was going to be a little bit cushier, a little bit better paying job. He moved over to the Royal Mint in London. He was later promoted to the Master of the Mint, which is like, hey, you just got this job. Do you have experience? No, but now you're the master. Something must have happened, right?
Hey, conspiracy theory. He made the Philosopher's Stone.
Ooh.
Right?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, we should make an episode about that one.
One of you guys out there, you need to tie all this together, get the chart, get like hair like mine, except twice as much, and go after it, man.
Yeah. And then take a bunch of Adderall so then your eyes go.
Yeah.
So then, upon being the master of the mint, he then oversaw the recoinage of the English currency into a stronger metal, because back in the day, they would chip off different parts of coins and then use that as currency. You know, they would get money from the metal itself. And he made it a stronger metal to prevent that from people, using money to get more money, like Dogecoin. But then he also established the standard of the gold currency, of the gold standard, right? So that's why we still use that today. That's why we still use that harder metal coin that we use today, because of Sir Isaac Newton, right? And you might think, oh, but he's just the guy that discovered gravity. He's doing a lot so far. He's doing a lot so far, right? And what does this have to do with bad guys, you ask? He would seek out counterfeiters and would later on explore the shadiest parts in London, where he established a network of information. So he had rats all over the place. And like I said, he went full Sherlock Holmes. He would go undercover at times even. And remember 1600s, like I'm mentioning so many times, counterfeiting the currency that they had, especially in London, the punishment for that was death. And then here's where you start thinking of him as a little bit darker. Like maybe he's the villain. I don't think so. I still think he's a bad guy or a good guy. He would relish in watching the targets of the counterfeiting that he would find. He would relish in watching their executions. It's like, damn, that's a little dark.
I mean, people like with that type of mentality or brain structure, geniuses, there's always something weird about them. Maybe that was his little weird tick.
I mean, you can say weird. You can say like he seemed
cynical,
more like
right?
a real person instead of, a lot of those geniuses, a lot of those people like Elon Musk, you might not see them as human as you think because you're the one that's cynical. You have cynical traits in you, but then you see this guy who's just out for the better of everybody. You don't think he has that. Right. But then when you find out, oh, he's just like me.
Yeah.
That should hit home. You can also accomplish all these things. And then we talked about honesty on Monday's episode. And that's another thing, because he also didn't have a lot of friends because he was brutally honest. He would tell people things as it was to their face. And a lot of people at the time didn't like that. Because remember, 1600s, you have those tough guys that they have to play the persona so then they can hold their credibility more.
Yeah.
Even though it was all fake credibility because it's just a persona. So then he would lose a lot of friends. He was a very sarcastic individual as well, which I can relate.
So you're 1/1000th of an Isaac Newton. Got it? Okay.
Oh, dude, if only that. I wish. That's an honor to be 1/1000 of Sir Isaac Newton. But the end cap, summary of everything and the overall motivation from this little history lesson. As you can tell, this man didn't have the advancements in technology that we are blessed with today. He was not only a jack of all trades, but he became a master of them. Was he the most confident in his work? No. Was it because he was a genius? Sure, but, only in a few cases. But you too, you in the camera, I'm looking at you, you can also be a master of your work. You can also be proficient in your field if you fully dive into it and you keep a forward momentum in the path to learning and just keep grinding. That's the motivation that I really want to push with people, is you just got to keep after it. He achieved so much. He dabbled in so many different fields. But what was the key thing that he did? Not just stay in his room, but he kept at his work. He kept trying to find new knowledge, seeking better understanding of the laws of the universe.
And he had that persistency there.
Persistency 100%. And he kept grinding. That's what people need to keep doing, especially with, like I said, the comfort of the advancements in the technology that we have now. I mentioned that it feels like everything's already been discovered, so why do we need to discover anything more? You got to start kicking that out of your brain. You got to start getting after things.
There's so much more to do.
Question everything. Find something that you're interested in. And you can even find your own answers that might later on be scientifically accurate. You can change history and our world if you put your mind to it. But don't let the comfort of our day and age weigh you down.
It's beautiful, man, because there is a lot there, and he did so much for the world, and he was a master of a lot of things, but they were all things that were related to each other in a way, right? So like with discovering gravity and doing all these things, and he started working with light and convex lenses and concave lenses and all this stuff, and he mastered that and worked on that. And at the same time, working with metals and trying to find like the Philosopher's Stone obviously applies very well to a job at the Mint, which is a related field yet again. So it's like, sure, he mastered a lot of things, but they were all tied together, and it all came around something that he truly loved and truly was passionate about. And on top of it, something he was gifted with.
Exactly.
And it's finding that gift and finding something that you do excel at, which naturally is something you're going to love because it will come easy to you and you'll see productivity through it. And being able to grab a hold of that and do something with that is what's going to change the world.
I mean, I love how you wrapped everything together like that because I didn't see it, but I like how you found that underlying tone. And like I was saying, like people need to just start with what you're interested in. If you don't know what you're naturally gifted in, if you haven't found that yet, just find the things that you're interested in and start working towards it. Start researching it. If you don't think that you're smart enough, stop lying to yourself like we talked to you on Monday about. Stop lying to yourself and cutting your own confidence from achieving these goals that like your full potential. You're stopping yourself from achieving that. But you keep working at it, keep researching, keep playing with the things that you're interested in, and you can become the master in that field, or even just extremely proficient. You don't have to be the top dog. There's a lot of people right now compared to the 1600s. But just like he, got that cushy job in the Mint of London, he then became the master of the Mint. You just keep working your way, be proficient at it, be interested in it, and you will work your way to the top.
Yeah, it's great. See, I got to help you find those things because I know, like you're saying, with you being the history buff and everything, and these topics, you excel at them, you love them, and it's great. And I love coming on here and talking about the personal growth and development and all that. So I love how we can always, work together on that and combine these things together, and it just works out well, man. It makes a great synergy.
Well, that's also why, like, it makes a big difference when you come out with your findings, when you talk to other people. I mean, he was lucky enough that he was able to put two and two together by himself in his room. But if you're working on these different theories, if you're working on these different projects, outsource, go out to your friends, go out to your family, go out to other people that are actually in that field. They can help you find that underlying, that point, the thing that ties everything together that you were missing. But that's why you need to be able to find confidence in yourself to outsource, like I said. You get a lot of information, and as an example, I like the history of it all and seeing all these different things that he did, but sometimes you miss things, and that's okay. We're all human. But it only took me to talk to you about it, me to talk to all you guys to find the bigger picture, you might say.
Yeah, and with you being the history buff, man, it's great because I want to tie everything back together. And if we go back to let's say the first minute or two of this episode, where we told everybody new episodes drop every Monday and Wednesday at 8 a.m. EST. And to add to that bigger picture, we're also on Anchor now. So feel free to check that link down below because that does include a bunch of other platforms that we're going to be on. And one of those includes Spotify. So if you want to listen to us on a jog or in your car or just anything where, you want to be on your cell phone, we're on there now too. Be sure to check that out and view the episodes there when you can.
Remember as well, we're always on social media also. So if you want to click on one of the social media links down below, you can always DM us, ask any questions. We are always willing to help out the people that reach out to us. Like we mentioned on Monday, we're willing to help the people that want the help. The people that want to grow in some knowledge, if they have some questions or if they want to just tell us something flat out, we always welcome that as well. Again, the social media links are down in the description below. And until next time, guys, go and get